Okay, I guess we're going to go ahead and get started. Our first presentation of the morning is by Derek Nener-Plante, the AASHTO Subcommittee on Materials.
Thank you for inviting me to talk this morning. My name is Derek Nener-Plante. I am the asphalt pavement engineer for Maine DOT. I am also the chair of the technical section 5B Bridge and Pavement Preservation, so that's why I'm here talking to you. I'm here to kind of give you an idea of what that committee is and what it means to pavement preservation nationwide. I thank SEPPP for inviting me here this week. So just an outline of what I want to discuss real quick. Many people in this room and within TSP2 and the pavement preservation realm may not know about what Subcommittee on Materials does through AASHTO, so I'll give a quick overview of that, what the new technical section is, and what does that mean, what does it do, and what our work currently that is going on. So Subcommittee on Materials is obviously, it's a committee within AASHTO, the organization of all the state transportation officials, and it's comprised of primarily the materials engineers of all the 50 states and the Canadian provinces that participate, that put together specifications for construction and maintenance methods, both primarily it's testing, so if you think about, tests on concrete, asphalt, etc., as well as specifications and practices, mixed design, things like that. And it's quite a formal process to get an AASHTO test or an AASHTO practice through. Again, if you deal in the materials or the testing world, all those are formalized, they're balloted every year. And that's kind of the charge of the committee. This kind of is a busy slide, has a lot of overview information, but again, the committee has over 522 standard specifications or methods published. Okay, so again, if you go into your state or a consultant lab, they're doing primarily a lot of tests via the AASHTO method. Some may do ASTM, but that is really what the committee keeps charge of. We keep those up to date, review them every 4 years, have a ballot process in order to get new ones approved, and that's what I'm going to kind of focus on. It does have links to TRB committees to try and keep research up to date and implement that research into standards and practices. And again, it's an AASHTO subcommittee that is very formal in its meetings, its procedures, in order to get those ballots and those standards approved. This is the structure of SOM Subcommittee on Materials, and what it is it's broken down into tech sections. So that's the TS in the name of the presentation. And essentially, you've got 19 tech sections that are focused in different areas. And since we're engineers, we love abbreviations and numbers, so ones are geotechnical, twos are asphalt and emulsions, threes have to do with concrete, et cetera, et cetera. And each one of those sections has a charge of standards and practice that they are the keepers of, that in that topic, new standards come to them. They also maintain the existing ones, make improvements. You'll see the one in green is the new one, and that is bridge and pavement preservation. Go into how new it is, but you also have an executive council. This is all supported by AASHTO. They do a lot of the heavy lifting. A lot of their staff helps us with it. And the structure as far as a leadership of the entire subcommittee on materials, you have regional vice chairs in each region of the U.S., Secretary Jack Springer from Federal Highway, and some others there that kind of head up the whole thing. These don't rotate quite as often as other organizations. They stay relatively consistent, which gives us quite a bit of continuity. Now, one thing we wanted to touch on, again, if you're not familiar with SOM, but something that is going to happen is AASHTO is restructuring a bit, And the subcommittee on materials, that is primarily just materials engineers, it covers paints, concrete, everything that has to do with transportation, is merging with the Joint Technical Committee on Pavements, which is a separate organization within AASHTO. The decision was made to merge the two of them. I have no idea how it's going to be done, but the goal is to get that for August 2018. The good news is it's going to put even more of a focus on pavements within the organization, if there wasn't already. But should merge. A lot of the Joint Technical Committee on Pavements are people in design, in perhaps maintenance, and it's going to merge it with materials and maybe be a one-stop shop for pavements in AASHTO. So I believe there'll be benefits. There are no details on how that's going to work yet, but something to look out for. I mentioned the annual meeting. A lot of the business of the subcommittee gets done in the annual meeting. It's in August of every year. It's 5 days, actually 6, I think if you count the Sunday, which a lot of work is done, of a lot of intense meetings. It's all Robert's Rules of Order, which is fun stuff, especially if you're a tech chair that you have to chair the meeting. But again, it's to get these standards through. We have certain procedures because we want to be fair to every section that we're treating every new standard exactly the same. And again, this has been done, I believe, 103. This is the 103rd meeting that will be coming up of this organization. What we do have now, the actual members are state DOT transportation officials. Again, generally materials engineers. However, we also invite friends of SOM, friends of tech section. This can be from industry, trade associations, academia, okay? They are non-voting members. When it comes to balloting and approving, they don't get a vote, but they provide feedback that either has to be answered or taken into account. And the friends of these technical sections are very important, okay? Because often, if you just rely on the transportation officials, the materials engineers, we might miss something. Okay, so we want that feedback from industry to provide their expertise in what can be done to these standards to ensure that they are the best that they can be. So especially in this crowd, if you're interested in being a friend of a particular tech section, probably mine or the pavement preservation one, certainly reach out, we can talk. We don't do like 5 from one company, but generally we try and have good representation from certain aspects of industry. Again, everything is formalized. It all goes out to ballot. When a new standard comes up, it goes to an official ballot, goes out to all the materials engineers, all the states, all the members. They provide comments. As a tech section chair, you have to address any negative comments, any negative votes or any of that. That all has to be addressed, and there are strict rules to how do they get approved. So when you eventually get to a practice, it has been a well-vetted document. We do have mid-year webinars. Okay, we do have the annual meeting, but work does progress in between. And they're scheduled generally in the fall to winter time frame. And it kind of gives that second meeting to get stuff done. I'll talk about what this particular tech section has been accomplishing through its mid-year webinars, but allows that when we do get together at the annual meeting, we maximize that time. The annual meeting this year is in Arizona in August. If you look at me, I'm not quite excited about that. But so we get a lot of work done there. It's not just the transportation officials that are invited. Industry is welcome. Welcome to sit on the meetings, listen to the discussion, contribute. So if you're interested, there's some information there. I encourage you to get involved. So why did this technical section come into existence? Our pavement preservation treatments, I would call them, don't fit nicely into one of the other major technical sections. Those technical sections are aggregates, emulsified materials, asphalt aggregate mixtures, proportioning of asphalt aggregate mixtures, markings and coatings. I am an asphalt pavement engineer in Maine. We don't have a single concrete pavement, so I am skewed that way. So I apologize I didn't put the concrete ones on there. But a lot of these treatments don't fit into those. Okay, you could say a slurry seal is very similar to an emulsified material. It has emulsified material in it, but the treatment itself can't be contained in that technical section. So again, these systems, you can't have an aggregate and an asphalt or an emulsion component and get that system well. And let's be honest, preservation is gaining traction, even in places where it hasn't before, and that's a good thing, so that's why this new technical section was created. So the new section was created in the fall of 2016. Our mission is there, is read there. The big thing from that mission is that this technical section will cover those topics that aren't sufficiently covered elsewhere. So the distinction I will make, that's made here, is bridge paint, okay? Painting a bridge can be considered a bridge preservation strategy. But there is a separate technical section that focuses just on paint. So that's going to stay just in paint. But if it doesn't fit nicely into one of the other technical sections, this group will take it on. Because if we took all preservation methods, I could take on all of hot mix then. Because a thin overlay is a preservation strategy if you took that definition. So that's where we're trying to narrow it down to what doesn't fit nicely. So another distinction is there's standards for emulsified asphalts for chip seals. Because it's focused just on emulsion, the emulsion technical section will take it. If it comes to a mixed design or a specification for chip seal, this technical section will handle it because it's not just emulsion, it's not just stone, it's the system. The leadership of the technical section, they each have a chair, vice chair, a federal highway liaison. I am the chair. Mr. Mark Felag from Rhode Island DOT is the vice chair, and we have Secretary Morgan Kessler from Federal Highway. So we've taken a couple of standards that already exist, and they're now going to be in the new tech section. So that includes materials for chip seals, microsurface design, chip seal design, protective sealers for Portland cement concrete. You can see how those kind of fit the bill as far as our mission, okay? They're a lot of the design of the treatment or the specification for the treatment, not the tests or the requirements on the individual components. Now, there are some potential future standards that are already working their way through subcommittee on materials, and they were proposed before this tech section was created. So they're going to stay where they are right now, and that's materials for slurry seal design. What we want to do is, if they're already a group working on these, we want to have the continuity. Once they get approved, they will be shifted over to this tech section to take care of. And then finally, since our mid-year meeting, we've had 3 standards submitted brand new to the tech section for consideration, and we're considering it now in advance of our annual meeting. And that includes diamond grinding, as well as thin overlay treatments, binder resin system for concrete surfaces, okay? Both a application and a material spec for that. So again, they've been submitted, they go through a process, they have to be approved within the tech section. Once they get approved within the tech section, it goes into the entire subcommittee on materials. If it gets approved there, then it becomes a full standard. And really that's the work of the tech section. I think what will be good is, coming from a state DOT in the materials realm, often when a treatment comes forth, it carries a lot more weight if it has an AASHTO spec. Okay, if it's something that we can test via an AASHTO spec, there's a mixed design via an AASHTO spec, there's a materials AASHTO spec out there. It gives a certain level of credence because there's a lot of review and a lot of experts that weigh in on these standards before they become fully balloted. And I think that lends credence to a lot of the good strategies that are out there that may not have a spec, an AASHTO spec at that time. So we anticipate being very busy, having a lot of industry involvement and in looking at these things. So we should be busy, and like I said, I encourage those from, even those that may not be in the materials realm, stay up on this tech section, because a lot of it isn't materials test, it's application, it's materials specifications. So, and the final thing I'll put up here is I am also the chair of the Northeast Pavement Preservation Partnership. So I very much enjoy having, you'll see, I'll take this off immediately and I'll be in short sleeves. You're lucky I'm not in shorts right now. with the beautiful weather down here. But we're having our own meeting in the Northeast in a couple weeks up in Portland, in Maine, right on the water. So again, if you're up for a little New England taste, we're having that. And again, the AASHTO Subcommittee on Materials next week meets in August. Industry's open. And I'll be around the rest of the day today. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them one-on-one. So I thank you for the opportunity.